Hey everyone, it's Daniel and thank you so much for watching. Inside this training, I'm going to introduce you to Heidi, who is a very talented copywriter I had the pleasure of interviewing live inside my Authority Hackers Facebook group. In case you're not a member yet, I want you to use the link below to join us because we have 2 weekly calls just like that, and I want you to enjoy the live experience and also be able to submit questions in the next training. Inside this training, what we're going to do is go deep into the power of hooks and why everyone should be using them. Doesn't matter what business or niche you're in, you need to be aware that your prospects are easily distracted nowadays. And unless we can find and leverage the different tools and techniques and get them hooked, they will just ignore you, scroll through your copy, and you will not get their attention. So this is exactly what the life is all about. You're going to learn how to do that even if you've never written a copy in your life. We're going to introduce you to easy to use templates that you can, in a moment take and just implement on your copy to get the right kind of hooks that will be effective and will get their attention in a moment. So this was a very awesome training. I hope you will enjoy that. And guys, if you do like it and if you want to get further notification on our next trainings, also make sure to subscribe to the channel. And if you can, comment and also smash that heart button or like button. I'm sorry. And without any further ado, let's dive deep and let's start.
Well, hey everyone. I'm thrilled to be here in Daniel's group and talking to some people I haven't met yet and seeing a few familiar faces. I know Marilyn, she's promoting Friend or Foe with me. But yeah, so I'm a funnel copywriter primarily. So that means I write copy for all parts of the funnel. So like I've written lead magnets, like entire ebooks or cheat sheets. I write the funnel copy itself. I write email sequences to follow up with people, and I write Facebook ads to direct people to the funnel, sorry. And I mean, that's not all that I'm able to do. Like people hire me to rewrite their websites as well, write product descriptions for e-commerce. So I've done a little bit of everything. And before this, I had a digital agency. And so I was mainly focused on social media strategy and content marketing for that. And that was my first business, like as an entrepreneur. I'm now on my second because I decided to niche down on copywriting. Before that, I worked a lot in marketing. So I've written probably every type of marketing copy there is. So been there, done that with a lot of copy. And I think it's all kind of brought me to where I am today. And so in my live today, I want to share with you guys some gold nuggets I know about how to write a really powerful hook, because I think a lot of us can agree that that is the most important part of your copy, whether it's a sales funnel. If you've been through the One Funnel Away challenge, for example, they spent like probably 2 days just on the hook, right? So it's important for a sales funnel, but also your emails. Like I would consider the first line of your email copy to be your hook. The first line of your Facebook ad is your hook, not the headline, because you're really limited with what you can put in the headline. So the hook is something that can be used in a lot of different marketing copy, and it's important to get it right. So I'm going to hopefully share some tips that you guys haven't heard before. And I also have some headline formulas that I'm going to teach you. So we're going to get into it.
Yeah, sounds amazing.
All right, well, I guess I'll just get into it. Or Daniel, do you want me to answer the questions first or save that till the end?
Well, usually the original format is that we address all questions to the end. But if you can see the questions and you see something that you would, I don't know, maybe prefer answering now, we can do that as well. It's up to you.
Okay. Yeah, I think the questions so far are all kind of different. So I'll keep my eye on it, but I'll just start talking about the hook.
Okay.
So yeah, for anyone who doesn't know or is new to this, like when we talk about hooks, we're talking about that first line at the top of a funnel, which is the first thing you see. It's usually a big bold headline, and it often asks a question or makes kind of a bold statement. Sometimes it's like what we call a pattern interrupt. So like if you're scrolling, for example, if it's like in a Facebook ad or post, it would be that line that jumps out at you and makes you stop in your tracks. So it has to be compelling, it has to be engaging. Sometimes it uses urgency and scarcity. Sometimes the pattern interrupt that I mentioned before, that refers specifically to Like if you're saying something that maybe is the opposite to what your competitors are saying, like something like, you don't need a big complicated funnel to make 6 figures, or you don't need a 3-month launch to be successful with your online course, something like that. Maybe that goes against what the other gurus out there are saying. Or maybe it's just something kind of like controversial. So that would be a pattern interrupt or pattern disrupt type of hook, which is one type you can do. But it doesn't have to be. It's kind of whatever you're comfortable with. And the thing I love about hooks is that you can just brainstorm a ton of lines and probably end up with a bunch that you like, hopefully 2 or 3 or something like that, and then split test all of them. So like with ClickFunnels, you can easily split test anything you want. You could swap out images, you could swap out your hooks, and you can do the same with Facebook ads. So that's another thing that I definitely recommend, is that you split test your hooks, because you never know, like something that sounds really like powerful to you and like would grab your attention, it might not be the thing that grabs your audience's attention. It might be something completely different. So you never know until you try.
I totally agree with that. Guys, I actually want to add something to it. It doesn't matter what it is that you do, if you're running ads, if you're trying to get your YouTube's videos ranked. I can vouch for experience, and I can vouch from all the people that I've learned from to this date, that yes, headlines, the hooks are among the first ones that most people usually recommend to split test. It goes with your visual usually. So the headline and the visual are the first thing to test, because these are both the things that people see first before they go to your CTA, because before they actually read and scan your copy or watch your video, they first see either the visual or the headline. And this is where you should quickly get their attention, where you should quickly get them to stop the scrolling, the endless scrolling, the pattern interruptions Heidi referred to. So this is very, very important. And this is also why I'm so excited that we have decided and are going through this topic today.
Yeah, thanks for adding that on. I hadn't even thought about YouTube, but that's so true as well. And when I was at FHL, we had 2 mega YouTube influencers there, and they were really talking about that too. Like the first thing you say is your hook, and it's really important. So it's always the first thing you say. It's like how you're introducing your offer, your product, or even yourself to your audience. So you want it to be powerful, impactful. You want it to create a connection. You want it to stop people strolling in their tracks. You need it to communicate urgency or scarcity, if that's, makes sense for whatever you're selling. So those are kind of the general rules to it. And the way we're initially taught or how to come up with hooks, like if for anyone, again, who's been through the OFA challenge, is that you write your origin story first. Now, you don't have to start here, but it is a good place to start. So your origin story is basically like your epiphany bridge, right? It's the story of how you got to where you are now, like maybe the pain and challenge you went through and what led to your breakthrough and your transformation, and probably led to you creating the thing that you're now selling to people to help them get to the same breakthrough you had. So you go through all of that. I'm not going to go over the Epiphany Bridge script exactly, because I think probably a lot of people here know about it. Would you say so, Daniel?
Yeah, I do agree. Well, it is a fascinating topic, guys. And if you'd like me to do another training or another video or some posts about that, let me know down below. But yeah, let's keep it about hooks, because this is also a very interesting topic that I'm sure we have a lot to go over.
Yeah, and so what happens is when you create your origin story from going through the Epiphany Bridge script, you end up having this whole bank of stories and hooks that you can pull from. So, like Steve Larson, for example, his origin story is about how he was this broke college kid. He was flunking out of college. He was overweight. He was newly married, and he couldn't feed his wife because she was only eating once a day so he could eat and go to school. It's this big dramatic tale. And then he, somehow bootstrapped his way to FHL, but he didn't have enough money to take a cab from the airport. And so he rented one of those, pedal bikes and biked to the venue. And then he slept on the floor at the venue because he couldn't afford a hotel room. So And then that led to him getting a job offer at ClickFunnels. So that's like his big origin story that anyone who's like watched him has probably heard this. So like his hook that he might pull from that, and I don't know what his actual hooks are. I haven't looked at his funnels in a while, but it might be something like, I was so broke I couldn't feed my wife. I knew something needed to change. Something like that would be a hook where you'd be like, whoa, what did this guy go through? And what does he know now? Like what was his big aha moment that got him out of that situation? So that's why it's important to kind of like know your stories and what you want to say, like kind of have a general idea of your messaging, and then it makes it easier to put together hooks. Then of course, your hook's going to be different too, according to what your product or offer is. You might have an origin story and a bank of hooks, but you still need to create new hooks for different offers. So you might end up putting out 5 or 6 offers, over a couple years. More than likely you would need a different hook for each one of those. I'm looking at some of my notes too here on hooks to make sure I'm telling you everything you need to know.
So meanwhile, I'll say, guys, Heidi referred to creating a bank of stories, which is something that I would highly agree with and recommend you to do. Mostly if you are considering yourself just like me, I don't think of myself as someone creative. I don't think that I'm a good storyteller. And I do need all the tools and all the techniques to really make it easier for me. And a bank of stories is the perfect example for that, because usually, I mean, there's no, it was said in one book, I think it was on Donald Miller's book, Building a Story Brand. There's nothing that can hook your audience for a longer period of time than creating stories. Stories are an amazing tool that you can use to sell, are an amazing tool you can use to hook your audience and to get them to listen. And because you need to, not just use the same story over and over again, because it will get very boring, you need to actually have all of them in your let's call it planned out. And creating an Excel sheet, for example, is something that I've started doing a couple of weeks back. And I just build my stories, I go over them, and I just sort of planning them. And then the more practice that I do, every time that I tell this story, it's not like I'm reading from the notes, but it sits better. It suits better. I just improved myself on that. And so creating a bank of stories is actually something that I highly recommend you to do. So that is just my 2 cents on it. Please continue.
Yeah, no, thanks for that. Yeah, the reason why you want this bank of stories too is because bring those into your funnels, what is going to make it ultimately convert. Because most buyers buy based on emotion and not logic. So the hook is like the quickest, best way that you can tap into that emotion. So there's like a buyer psychology here. I mean, this is what I think about every time I write copy. It's kind of like, what is their level of awareness? Talking about your target, where are they right now? What are they feeling? And then you want to enter the conversation that's already going on in their own head. So the hook is where you kind of first do that. You get their attention, and then you kind of start showing the value of, explaining like how whatever you're selling is going to solve a problem for them, and you show the value of it. And then you get into more details, like breaking down your process, sharing your unique methodology, giving your personal guarantee, your social proof, all of that. That all comes later in the funnel. We're still just focused on the first part, which is the hook. But that's the quickest, fastest way into your audience's brain, and where you're going to hopefully build that emotional connection. So what I'd like to do next is go over the headline formulas that I've created. This is a sort of a cheat sheet or template that I give away in my Facebook group, but I'm happy to give it away to you guys too. But let me just bring it up, and we'll go through that.
If you can go over that. And guys, if you'd like Heidi to share this template with your insider group, comment. You already know the drill. Comment template this time, And by the end of this live, I'm going to reach out to Heidi, ask for that, and share it with all of you, okay? It might not be today because the live ends very late in my country. But again, if you'll ask for that, I'll make sure to personally reach out and send you the template. So comment template, okay? Thank you, Heidi, for that.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, let me share my screen here. And just make sure I have the right document up. Okay. There we go. And then I think you just need to add it.
I already are you? Oh, I need to enter it. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So this is my headline template document, the one that if you guys want it, I will share it. Oh yeah, here's a good line in here that reminds me of something. You have about 8 seconds to capture someone's attention when they're scrolling. So that's again why the hook or headline is so important, because we live in a short attention span world. So that's why you need each and every headline in your funnel. It's not just the first one on the first page, but every page generally has a hook, or your website might too. And you want to make that as strong as you can so that you can make that emotional connection with your viewer, which will then hopefully motivate them to take action. In other words, buy from you or book a call or whatever you're asking them to do. So if you keep in mind always that your target audience is in pain over something and you have the solution, and if they get your solution, they can stop the pain, that should help you when it comes to crafting these headlines. So here's some that are kind of unique to the opt-in squeeze page. The squeeze page of a funnel is when you're usually giving something away on that first page in exchange for their email address. So you want to collect that email address and tempt them with something that they really want. So like this actual template, and I have a sales funnel template. That's what I give away on the squeeze page of my copywriting funnel, because I know that people are looking for that. So here's one formula you can use. So it starts like this. Start with the thing your clients most want to do, plus use the word without, and then you paint the picture of an undesirable outcome or anxiety. So this was the hook I used in my copywriting funnel. I'm not saying it's brilliant, but it follows this formula. So this is what the clients want to do: write powerful, compelling copy that converts. Right? They want people to come to their funnel and be motivated to buy, not just bounce because copy is boring. And then without, and I put in staring at a blinking cursor for hours on end. Because I feel like a lot of people, when they sit down to write copy, they get what we call blinking cursor syndrome, where they're just staring at their page and they have no idea what to write. So you could also take this same type of structure and phrase it like a question. So you would say instead, do you want, and then you put product that is a solution. So you don't, and then you put in a thing that gives your target audience pain or anxiety. So the parts here, just to explain my template a little bit, that are in these brackets are the part that you need to fill out with whatever is unique to your offer. So here's an example. Do you want the perfect cold call script so you never have to stumble and sweat over prospect calls ever again and actually close the sale? So this would be, for somebody who needs help with sales and they're selling a solution that helps people. So their solution is a cold call script. Here's another one that's super basic but works. It's probably the simplest headline formula I have that still packs a serious punch. It's how to, whatever the benefit is, without the pain. So like an example would be how to launch your offer without going broke driving traffic to it. So that's a simple one that probably anyone can come up with if you think about your offer and what pain it solves. Like, I don't know, maybe we could try doing some live examples too, Daniel. Like if anyone in your group can tell us what their product is or their offer, we could try coming up with some hooks for them.
Well, I think it is an amazing opportunity, actually. Let's give it a shot. Guys, if you have a product, if you'd like Heidi and I to build like a hook with you, a headline, comment down below, let us know all the details, and we'll do that live with you. It will be awesome, I think. But let's see how fast they act.
Yeah, well, I'll keep going through a couple more formulas just while, people are deciding if they want to be brave or not. Because, I don't want to read through all of these. I don't want it to get boring. So Another tactic is you can use a tantalizing word at the very beginning, like introducing or discover or announcing or proven, because it lets your audience know that you're about to unleash something on the world, something cool and new that they're going to want. So this lets your, like I said here, lets your audience know that something is new and exciting is dropping. So this formula goes like this. Start with your tantalizing intro word, then put the name of your product, that does, and then talk about how it benefits client needs, and then list another benefit. So here's an example of this. Introducing the perfect launch formula that will maximize your sales. That's the first benefit. And build your tribe. Benefit number 2, so you can watch the cash flow in. So this is another headline style. I feel like I see this a lot. People just go straight to introducing and they just say what the thing is. And that can work just as well as, a more psychologically driven question. Here's another formula. Who else wants, and then you put desirable outcome that solves, oops, my light just almost fell over. Desirable outcome that solves a pain point. So for an example, who else wants to make money while they sleep with automated income streams? We all want that, right? So that might be a good one for like affiliate marketing.
So basically, how many templates are inside? Do you remember the amount? Because it all seems awesome.
Yeah, this is just 10. I mean, I probably could have kept going, but I wanted to keep it short.
I think it's more than enough. Guys, I want to address that quickly. You might not think that working with template is a smart idea, or that it's not for you. I can vouch for my own experience and experience that I hear a lot of people using similar templates. For example, I've been using Jim Edwards. I'm sure Heidi is well aware of all these. I don't know how he calls it, generators, script writers. Yeah, so all of his tools for that, and it's been doing wonders on my posts and content. And the fact is that if you'll be using those templates for some time, it will later come naturally to you, and you'll be able to structure it even without those templates in hand, more like intriguing, and you'll be able to just come up with better hooks. So I would say just give it a shot, especially if you're not that experienced with copywriting, if you're not that experienced with storytelling. If you need that initial push, this can do wonders for your copy, I believe. So again, comment template if you'd like that, and if you haven't commented that already, and that is for it. I actually see a lot of comments here, and I think that Marlene said, you know what, actually, let me bring her comment here. I'm promoting Doug's 5-day course that teaches how to create a membership course funnel, which then to get people to sign up for his paid course. Heidi, do you think that's enough for us to maybe come up with a hook, or at least give some guidelines?
I think so. So just trying to think if I need any, like, who is he kind of targeting with this? Affiliate marketers, just any entrepreneur who wants a membership course, which, I assume they would need to create a membership funnel because they're launching an online course. Is this for anybody who wants to launch a course? If Marilyn could tell me that, I think that would help.
Yeah, Marilyn, if you can comment, let us know. I mean, I'm not that experienced with Doug's offering. I know him, but I'm not sure what his audience is. So Marilyn, if you can help us with that, I think Heidi would love to help you build something online. So she says yes. So basically, what was your question? If basically anyone that wants to create an online training, an online course.
Okay. So, and then what's the benefit to them of doing that? Like something they could sell on repeat, kind of a make money while you sleep sort of thing?
I believe so, yeah. It's like you come with no experience in a course designing, course creation, and you maybe, I believe, by the end have a course already made, or at least the structure or the layout. Marlene says, for affiliate marketers plus people who are interested in ClickFunnels.
Okay. So, I mean, we could just start really basic and not try to get too clever with it. So I'm going to try this with the first headline formula, which is the thing your client most wants to do without undesirable outcome or anxiety. So I'm just going to write it here in the comments. So launch an online course without, I mean, I think the pain most people have with this is that they think it takes a really long time.
Yeah.
So
And
they,
maybe technical for them,
yeah, they
possibly.
take too long and they get hung up on, oh my God, where am I going to host this? Like, this is so complicated. What do I use? Do I go to Kajabi? Do I use ClickFunnels? What do I do?
Yeah, exactly.
So launch an online course without, let's say it's like spending months on a complicated membership. I don't know if we want to call it funnel, or I don't know. Actually, let's not be too specific. Without spending months on complicated and time-consuming tech. It keeps it general enough that, but I think most people would know.
Yeah, I think it sounds great. If you can comment that, I can also share it on screen.
Oh shoot, I think I put that in the private chat. Let me.
Oh, no worries. I'll copy that
Yeah,
and
I
I
can
can
drop it
comment
in.
that. And let's read it together so people can see. So again, guys, for Marlene at least, launch an online course without spending a month on complicated and time-consuming tech. I think this is one great suggestion, and obviously we'll need to split this one out. I mean, you can, and I would definitely recommend building at least 2, 3, 4 kind of hooks and headlines, and then just, try to pick up your favorite, or if you're running, for example, paid traffic to it, you can easily set up 4 different ads and see which one gets the best results.
That's right. I mean, you could also do something using this formula and say something like introducing, and then put the name of your course or challenge or solution. That allows you to launch a course without wasting time and money, something like that. I think there's probably more benefits we could tap into though.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And guys, this is exactly what I did when I first started. Again, I would just take a new document on Word, and I would just try 3, 4 different headlines, and then I would just pick my favorite. And again, if you're going to use paid media, it's even easier for that because you don't need to even choose. You can just split test. So yeah, and I see Marlene thanking you, Heidi. So let me also thank you for that. I think it was a great idea to actually allow people to submit and
that's something I
build it.
do. It's something I like to do in my Facebook group as well. I'll just do these live, I call it copy remix, and anyone who shows up with some copy they want feedback on can just drop the link. So
a cool idea. I might give it a shot as well here.
Yeah, it's fun to kind of brainstorm live with other people.
Okay, awesome. So do you think, maybe if it's possible, maybe I'll ask you some questions about, because I think that I already, and guys, by the way, submit your questions down below so we can address them, because Heidi also is going to allow some time for QA. So basically whatever question you have, either on hooks or maybe even just copywriting in general, submit them down in the chat so we can address that. I think, oh, you know what, actually, I do remind, depending on where you are with the template, I mean, do you have anything else to add? Because we already, I just remember that we have some comments, actually, some questions.
Yeah, I mean, I think people, you can share this with them and they can go through it. Each one, has an example. So yeah, just keep in mind the stuff in brackets is the part that you would swap out. And yeah, like to back up what Daniel said, I think it could be great to use templates and it could be great to use something like funnel scripts, but you want to make sure that you don't just take whatever it spits out and use that exactly. You need to make sure, you might have to like polish it up, make sure it's in your brand voice, that it makes sense to your customer, because funnel script is meant to be like a starting point, and then you go in and finesse the copy. So I just want to like let people know to don't just rely exclusively on like software or templates.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, those softwares guys are here to help you, but if you just let them do 100% of the work, it will almost never work. Because your customer, I mean, your audience would just not resonate with the AI machine text. Okay, they need they need to know just a little bit more info those machines, and you are the one who needs to actually decide what will be best. What are the desires? What are the things that would lure them and attract them and intrigue them? So it needs to be you two there. And obviously, you cannot just use the same template over and over again. This is what also I want to add. Split those out, check different ones every single day. It is better to have an entire toolbox than just one perfect tool. That way you can also learn, and later on it will come naturally to you, and you'll just be able to choose the best kind of template for the thing that you want to write about or do content about. So yeah, that's a great ad, Heidi.
Awesome. Yeah. So, I mean, this is really mostly what I had, just some like basic stuff about hooks, what goes into a good hook, and these formulas to help you get started. I think if you just try out several of these, and the next time you write a hook, you'll probably end up with something that you like. So I'm happy to go through questions now.
Awesome. So let me just bring them on screen. And guys, again, if you have any comments, if you have any questions, just submit them on chat and we'll start going over the questions now. So let me just start from the very beginning because I remember Marlene posting some. Okay, that's the one. That's one. So basically, I want to know what is too long of a post and what is too short. I mean, how do you decide how long a post should be, Heidi?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's no hard or fast rule, but there are different types of posts you can write. Like I did a masterclass on how to write story posts. The story post is kind of what it sounds like. You're telling a story, and then it's kind of leading logically into a pitch at the end, or you don't have to pitch. You might tell a story and then have some kind of empowering or inspiring message at the very end, like, now, get out there and launch something, or go do it, or make something today, or whatever it is. So those typically are on the longer side, story posts, and they do also follow a formula. So there's a hook at the top. You got to, especially on Facebook, you got to stop people scrolling in their tracks as fast as you can. Some other people call this like a value post. Kind of the same thing. Value posts are usually teaching something specific. I have like a document on value post that might be helpful.
Shared a lot of examples of value posts. Basically, I call it the value post and the fluff post. The fluff posts are like what you ate for dinner last time.
Yeah, or just like a question. Like, I do this in my group all the time. Sometimes I do questions that have nothing to do with copywriting. I just want to get people talking. So I might ask something like, what's a random fact about yourself? What's the most badass thing you've ever done? Because people love to talk about themselves. So you're just giving them a reason to do that, and you're, hopefully creating a connection and a community in there. So I just want to share this really quickly. I found my post structure document. So first, you usually ask a question or write a statement that will relate deeply to your target audience. You try to meet them where they're at emotionally. Then you provide an insight or a aha moment that shows you understand them better than they might even understand themselves. Then you give them a glimpse of hope, share your own story of how you maybe felt like them, or even worse. Then you share all the things you tried, which they are also likely to go try themselves, that have not worked for you. And then you give an example of a big turning point in your life when you were like maybe in a no way out situation. Then you share your value or lessons. So what does this remind you of? It's pretty much the epiphany bridge again, but you can do this in a post. So this is for story post or value post. These are longer than like your quick blog post, but there's no hard or fast rule. Like, these can be, like this long. Like, I don't want to say number of paragraphs because that doesn't mean much to people, but like that much text on your Facebook feed, that's probably a value or story post.
Mm-hmm. So,
And then
guys, mm-hmm.
sorry, I just wanted to
No,
make
sure.
sure to
Please,
mention,
please finish with it.
yeah, just make sure this is the rest of the structure. You have a call to action at the end. So either you're directing people to an offer because you just told a story of a pain you're in and then what you did to get out of it. Maybe you have an offer related to that. I never put the offer or the link right in the post because Facebook drives down that algorithm. It like affects the algorithm negatively. So for whatever reason, always drop your link in the comments. So I'll always say, grab the link below in the comments if you want this, or you can ask people to drop a hashtag or to DM you. You know, that's your call to action. If you don't want to do a call to action because you're not selling anything, ask them to make an empowered decision or take an empowered action.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Okay.
the value post. But the type of short post you could do is what we call a block post. That's where you just have like the colored background and your post is just like one line. Those are usually engagement posts. You know, like you're just asking a question. It could be business related. It could be an inspirational quote. It could be a quick call to action. I was taught something called a mission post at Tribe of Buyers, and that's where you say, you know, like, I'm on a mission to help 5 entrepreneurs launch their online course over the next 3 months. Who's in? Because you're calling out very specifically who you help and how you're going to help them. That's also a really powerful post, and that's a really short post. So the long story short answer to your question, Marilyn, is it really depends on what type of post you want to create and what you're trying to do with it.
Okay, I think it was a great answer to that. I also want to quickly recap and give my feedback on that as well, Marlene. Basically, in most scenarios that I face, I can, yeah, well, we can all either decide to do the same kind of message in a shorter post or in a longer one. Usually what I find is that a longer version is needed whenever you ask for them to make a commitment or whatever you need to educate them. So Heidi, for example, shared an example of a short post. I mean, who wants in, comment that. Okay, so this is a very well educated customer that already is familiar with the opportunity. He knows what the author is talking about, and he's already thinking maybe about that. And now the author is just requesting people who've already made up their mind, just comment. I don't need to handle any objections. I don't need to convince you or anything. You're already familiar with what I offer, so just comment that. So this is a shorter kind of version. However, on value posts or whenever you're trying to make a sale, for example, and your customer needs to be either educated or you need to maybe handle their objections because there is something that is holding them back from purchasing. So it will require a longer version. And from my experience, the bigger the commitment that you're asking them to make, the longer the form will need to be, because usually more objections will just come up. I mean, I can find 10 times more reasons for why not to buy a $1 million house than to why not buy this, I don't know, steak for dinner that cost me $20. I mean, the bigger the commitment, the more time you'll think about it, and the more objections you'll actually find out. So that is why usually the bigger the commitment, the more convincing, the more you'll have to spend time on the transformation, on the epiphany story. So there's no right or correct answer to that. It's just a matter of split testing. You'll see how your audience reacts to every version. Okay, so for example, if you're using paid media, this is why a lot of advertisers, when they first launch their ads, they split test a shorter version comparing to a longer version. A copy, as I just mentioned earlier in this interview, is one of the first things people actually test. Okay, because it has a very important role in the entire experience. Okay, so I hope we were able to address that, Marlene, and thank you, Heidi. I think it was a perfect explanation, and I'd like to continue to the next one, which I also think is Marlene. So basically, is there and Heidi, by the way, in case we run out of time or anything, I just don't know how you're handling your schedule there, just let me know. But for the
Yeah, I do
main
have
part,
to end at 11 because I have another call, but that gives
so
us
11 is
almost
like,
20 minutes. So
okay, well, I think we have plenty of time.
yeah,
So is there a sweet spot for time of day, or is it just being consistent? What is your opinion?
I think it's more being consistent. And I think the more important thing to do than worry about time of day is to prime your feed before you post. So anyone who's taken like the One Group Away challenge or has kind of studied this probably has heard this before, but just to reiterate, that's where before you post anything on your page, set a timer for at least 15 minutes, go through your feed, like, comment, and tag, like, comment, tag. So find some posts. You don't have to like comment on every single post you see, maybe the ones that are most relevant or in your target audience. So tag the person who posted it, respond to them, and make sure you like or heart their posts, because that helps them, that helps drive up the algorithm, and it also tells Facebook that you're somebody who's active on Facebook, you're engaging, and so it'll serve up your post higher in the algorithm. So then after you've done that, go do your post. And another thing that helps that I do a lot is you can get into, like, there's kind of like some messenger groups where people do nothing but support each other's posts. So the whole point is you drop your link, and then ideally people would go engage with it immediately, like not like an hour later or like a day later, because the sooner you get engagement, the more Facebook is gonna like tell people to pay attention to it. So those two things I think are way more important than time of day. Of course, if you have a Facebook group, you can always look at your insights and your stats and see when the most popular times of day are for posts and go with that. But I wouldn't worry about it too much on your personal page or business page.
Okay, I totally agree with Heidi, guys. Well, if you go to Google and search for statistics, you will find out that there are days that people are just more active in. There are
Yeah.
hours that people are more active in, but that's really not that crucial for your business unless I would say you are targeting a very specific audience, for example, in one demographic zone. And if, for example, I'll be targeting Israelis and I'll be posting at 2 a.m. Israel time, it will be a very bad, because again, Facebook and all social media platforms really, just like Heidi mentioned, focus on the very first couple minutes to decide if this post is good or awful. And if it's awful, it just dies on the feed. And if it gets traction, if it gets engagement on the first couple minutes, then they decide to actually boost this one. So that is a great tip, and thank you for answering that. Let's continue to the other ones that we have. Okay, so how do you start writing an ad copy? How to master the science and technique behind it? I mean, I know that this will be a tough question to answer, but if you can provide maybe some tips for a starter copywriter, I think will be awesome.
Yeah, well, luckily I also have a Facebook ad template, so I'm happy to share that with your group as well. But I mean, it's kind of similar to what we just went through. Like, you want to have a hook. The first line of your ad is your hook. Then you want to go into the solution that you're, or like, no, first talk about their problem, address the pain point, then go into your solution, introduce your offer, talk about the benefits. You could do a really long post. People, or long form ad copy, people do that, where they tell a story, they include testimonials, there's like all kinds of stuff in this ad, and you think, who would read that? But people actually do if they're interested. So I mean, there's a lot of templates out there too. People have different kind of theories on what works. I just had somebody hired me to write a Facebook ad for her, but she wanted me to use this really specific template that she had learned from like a Facebook ads coach. So we did that, and she was happy with it. So it really depends. I mean, I would go find these templates and formulas, study them. It's all experimental though with excuse me, it's all experimental with Facebook ads. You know, like I had another client recently whose ads were doing great before COVID, but because his offer was related to travel, specifically earning credit card points to pay for first class travel, his same ads started tanking. So we had to kind of rework the whole thing and come up with a different angle. Also, just make sure you're really aware of what's compliant. You know, Facebook does update their language a lot, their compliance, they have a lot of rules. You know, there's definitely things you can't say that will get your ad rejected, but they won't always tell you exactly what that was. So the more you can educate yourself, the better. I can tell you right off the bat, you can't say anything about making money online. You can't promote anything that seems like an affiliate offer, like at least not directly. You can do it indirectly, send people to your bridge page. You can't speak specifically to one group of people. Like you couldn't say, hey, all African American men, you'd have to kind of more hint at who your post is for. You can't do before and after kind of stuff. There's a lot of rules, and you just need to go read the Facebook ad compliance section. Just Google it, and same thing with Google Ads. You should be fine. The rest is just practice and experimentation.
Okay, I love that. So I think we have 2 more questions. At least this is what I see at the moment. Guys, again, if you have any other, just comment down below. So this is, I like, actually, this is a very good question. How do you research your audience? What is your process? If you have any idea about that, if you have no idea, I'm sorry, about that segment.
Sure. So I'm going to give you a killer tip. This is probably related to something you may have heard from like Russell Brunson, which is, just go where your audience is. Go join the Facebook groups they're in. Go listen to the podcast they're listening to. If you don't know what those things are, like find one person who's in your target audience that you know for sure fits that profile, and look at what they're following and listening to. You can usually get clues about that from their social media. So join those groups, pay attention to what people are talking about, the questions people are bringing up over and over again, what kind of pain what they're expressing, what kind of frustrations they have, problems, challenges, all that stuff. And this is the insider tip that someone told me is like, go on Reddit, which like we tend to forget about Reddit, right? It's like still around and thriving, but it's not really where everybody's in our circle is hanging out necessarily. I mean, maybe some of you are. But there's so many topics, like boards, threads dedicated to specific topics. Find the topics that your target audience cares about and go through there. And same thing, like pick out exact language they use. Take that exact language, put it on your funnel, put it in your ad, put it in the copy that you're sending them, because you're going to create that connection a lot faster if you do that. So that would be my advice.
Well, these are all great tips. I'm, for one, don't use Reddit very often. I don't remember the last time that I went inside, but forums, guys, forums are amazing. And I think I already mentioned that several times. Groups are just, they can do wonders. I mean, hanging out with the crowd that you're targeting, asking them questions, seeing what kind of questions they ask, seeing the kind of topics that they engage with most inside a group. These are all, I mean, this is gold. So these are all great tips, and there's many tools that you can also use in order to come up with the search terms on Google, for example. What do people search for in relations to the keywords that you enter? There's Uber Suggest by Neil Patel, a free tool that you can just enter some keywords and see the most shared and articles that got the most engagement, and that can just tell you, I mean, wow, this topic gets a lot of attention. I might be one, maybe I should write about that. Though obviously nothing on that is just sufficient. You need to maintain, you need to balance, you need to use all of them and to really figure out who is your target market, okay? So these are all great tips. Yes?
Yeah, Eon also mentioned Answer the Public. That's another great one, just for topic hook research.
I was trying to come up with the name.
Yeah.
Eon, you're great. I was like, how is the tool? It was public something.
Yeah.
So that's a great one also.
I've also used BuzzSumo in the past, especially when I was doing more content marketing, because it'll show you the top, like most popular articles on a specific topic, like whatever keywords you put in. So
BuzzSumo allows also a free subscription, or is it just paid? I don't remember.
Well, they do have a free subscription, but I think you're limited to how many queries you can make in a day. So
I see. Okay. So again, guys, these are all amazing tools. Let's see other questions that we have. Okay. Marlene asks, with organic marketing, how do you push people towards your offer?
Yeah, so you do that with like a lot of the tactics we've already talked about. Your story posts, your value posts, you put those on your profile page every day. Go into groups where your target audience are and post there every day. Just give value. I used to post a lot more often in the ClickFunnels group. I'm not doing it as much, but like what I notice when I do, I get a lot more friend requests. I get a lot of people asking to join my Facebook group. Do the newsfeed priming thing every single day. even if you're not going to do a big post that day, it's still a good thing to do because it kind of keeps people aware of you. That's why they call this the omnipresence formula, because it does look like you're everywhere. Facebook groups are incredible for organic marketing, because hopefully you've attracted people around your specific topic so everything you're putting out to them is very relevant. They're going to be very interested. And, you can start making offers to your group. And a lot of the Facebook group gurus say that you should make an offer sooner rather than later. You don't want people to kind of become offended if 6 months down the line, suddenly you're putting out a paid offer and they're like, wait a minute, everything was free. Why are you asking me for money? You kind of want to condition people that you are sharing a lot of value and, they can kind of pay you to get a deeper dive on some of the stuff you might be teaching for free. Like in my group, I have a lot of free trainings I've done that are similar to this. And I give people templates and tools, but then if I want to do a deeper dive and really teach someone something that they can then take action on, then I'll do a masterclass for like $47 or $97. So and all of this that I've done all of this through organic marketing. I've never spent $1 on Facebook ads. I definitely want to, because I want to expand my audience, but you don't have to. You can do all of this. You can drive traffic to your funnels. You can build a Facebook group all through organic marketing and what we call attraction marketing. So that's more like you're bringing people to you. You're turning your Facebook profile into a funnel. All of your content that you put out is super relevant to the people you want to attract, and they come to you.
Awesome. I love that. Guys, we had some trainings about organic attraction. If you want some help with that, either reach me out or search inside this group. One of them was with Wilhelm Winold, and it was a great training in which we really went down and dived deep inside attraction marketing and how to do that, how to optimize your profile and do everything. So either reach me out or search inside this group. I'll be more than happy to send it to you. These are all free, obviously, sessions that we did. And awesome. So that's a great answer to that. And I'm happy we were able to address that. And I think we have time for one more. What is your opinion? Because I know you need to go.
Yeah, I can do one more.
Okay, so last question that I see is about the frequency. I mean, is 2 posts the most we should post? Do you recommend maybe more than that?
Well, if we're talking about a Facebook group, it's pretty agreed that you should be posting 3 to 5 times a day. Which I know sounds like a lot, but you can schedule this out ahead of time. Usually the formula for that is you share one engagement post, one value post, and then maybe one offer post. So something I've started doing again recently since COVID is like I try to do an offer post every single day because people forget about all the services that I offer, all the different things I can do, all the offers I already have created. And so you're just kind of reminding people, you're just putting it out there and giving them, a way to go buy from you. So I definitely recommend that formula. So this applies to both your profile and Facebook groups. You want to share something. If you're just posting on your personal profile, you want to share something personal, something that kind of just shows like a day of your life if you want to. But I think it's good for creating that connection. You want to post something that's just value, like maybe you're teaching something, you're sharing something that inspired you recently. Like I kind of had this aha moment from watching a training on sales and marketing from Scott Oldford that kind of inspired me. And so I created really like a story post around it that was related to this job I had where I was working for Sony PlayStation. And it was like the best and worst job I ever had because it was really stressful. But on the plus side, I had, I worked with amazing people. I got to go to London for work. There's all this great stuff about it. But the realization I had and the aha moment I shared is that with most jobs, I always felt like I was faking it in some way. But as an entrepreneur, I never feel like I have to fake it. Because sharing your journey.
I love that as well.
Yeah.
Guys, as for how frequent you should be, I would say, well, at least do once a day so people again will be notified about you and remember you because they easily forget about who you are and they just approach someone else just because, again, you did not post enough. As for how many times you should do exactly, there is no right answer to that, I would say. Just make
Yeah.
sure, I mean, you can post 5, 6, 7 times a day. I would just make sure not to post too frequently, because either this will come on the quality, because you cannot produce 7 quality posts a day, or again, it will be too frequent that Facebook would not be able, or any social media platform would not be able to promote all of them. They'll just need to pick out those that they like best, and you'll just be competing against yourself, which is kind of stupid if you ask me. So just
I agree.
try to at least leave a gap of 1 hour, 2 hours. This is what I try between posts. Otherwise, you'll just, again, compete against yourself on that, because Facebook will not just promote 7 of your posts if you'll post them all. Okay, they need to select the best ones for their target audience.
And there's
So
a difference between being omnipresent and obnoxious, where you're
yeah,
just too in people's faces. So you don't want people to get tired of you and unfollow you.
very, very true.